Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's me, Pia Dina. Today, I will be sharing with you Pia's travel in United Kingdom in 2014. Come and join me as I look back on the places I visited in London, England, and some travel tips on how to apply the visa, where to apply the visa, where to book your accommodations, how to go around in London, what tours to avail in London, and a lot more. When applying for a visa to come to the UK, you must check which visa you need to visit the UK. In my case, I checked for a holiday as the main reason for my visit. You must apply online through www.gov.uk. As part of your online application, you need to book an appointment at a visa application center, where you will have your fingerprints and photograph, known as biometric information, taken during your appointment. The visa costs about £95 to £822. It depends on how long it's valid for, which you will mention during your application. In my case, I applied the minimum 6 months multiple entry. I filled all the application form prior to my trip to Greece, and I booked my appointment in the BFS Center here in Dubai after I returned from my travel from Greece. Filling out the form through online will take you about 15 to 25 minutes, and all your documents, supporting documents, should be available in soft copies. Follow the step-by-step instruction in the www.gov.uk, and you will never go wrong. You also have to pay the visa fee through online. Then, you have to book for your appointment and make sure to attend on your appointment date. What are the documents you must provide? When you apply, you need to provide a current passport or other valid travel identification. You need a blank page in your passport for your visa. Your passport should be valid for the whole of your stay in the UK. You will also need to provide the following information: the dates you're planning to travel to the UK, details of where you will be staying during your visit, how much you think your trip will cost, your current home address and how long you've been lived there, your parents' names and date of birth, how much you earn in a year. You might also need to provide the following: details of your travel history for the past 10 years, as shown in your passport, your employer's address and telephone number, your partner's name, date of birth and passport number if you are married, the name and address of anyone paying for your trip, the name and address and passport number of any family members you have in the UK. Shout out to Sonia White. Since I am residing in Dubai, UAE, I also provided my visa residence page copy. You might also need to provide the following: details of your travel history for the past 10 years, as shown in your passport, your employer's address and telephone number, your partner's name, date of birth and passport number. I also submitted travel insurance for the whole durations of my trip. I booked my ticket via Alitalia Airlines. I booked my accommodation at Louis Lounge and Roseberry Hall. Since it is summer vacation, you can opt to book your accommodations in the student dormitory, where you can have a single room with shared toilet and bathroom. In this way, you can save some of your money from the accommodation. So I arrived in Heathrow, London on 18th August, but my luggage hasn't. So my baggage is delayed for 54 hours. Did it ruin my trip? No! I happily spent my first day again doing shopping, clothes shopping and basic toiletries. The story of my life. What are the places I visited in London? On my first day in London, I visited London Bridge, Monument, London Tower, Tower Bridge, Big Ben, and London Eye. On my second day, I visited St. Paul Cathedral, Millennium, Cambridge Circus, Piccadilly, Trafalgar Square, and National Gallery. On my third day, I booked a tour at Buckingham Palace. On my day 4, I visited British Museum and Hyde Park. On day 5, I visited Borough Market, Westminster Abbey Church, the Houses of Parliament, and the Palace of Westminster. On my day 6, I visited again the Buckingham Palace, the Green Park, the Star Flyer experience with my friend Erisa. Mega shout out to Erisa. Hi Erisa. London Bridge. Several bridges named London Bridge has spanned the River Thames between the City of London and Southwark in central London. Why is London Bridge famous? If you haven't heard the nursery rhymes London Bridge is falling down, then I don't know with you. Kidding aside, it is used as a symbol of London and is recognizable to visitors from all over the world, even if the majority of people don't know what it is actually called. London Bridge. London Bridge has existed in one form or another for nearly 2,000 years now. It's the site of the oldest crossing of the River Thames on record. Big Ben. Big Ben is the nickname for the great bell of the ticking clock at the north end of the Palace of Westminster in London. The name is frequently extended to refer to both the clock and the clock tower. The official name of the tower in which Big Ben is located was originally the Clock Tower. It was renamed Elizabeth Tower in 2012 to mark the Diamond Jubilee of Elizabeth II, Queen of the United Kingdom. London Eye, or the Millennium Wheel, is a cantilevered observation wheel on the south bank of the River Thames in London. It is Europe's tallest cantilevered observation wheel and is the most popular paid tourist attraction in the United Kingdom with over 3 million visitors annually and has made many appearances in popular culture. Tower of London. The Tower of London, officially Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress of the Tower of London, is a historic castle on the north bank of the River Thames in central London. It lies within the London Borough of the Tower Hamlets, which is separated from the eastern edge of the square mile of the City of London by the open space known as the Tower Hill. It was founded towards at the end of 1066 as part of the Norman conquest of England. The White Tower, which gives the entire castle its name, was built by William the Conqueror in 1078 and was the resented symbol of oppression inflicted upon London by the new ruling elite. In 2014, when I visited the Tower of London, it marked the centenary of the outbreak of the First World War, WW1, with a commemorative art installation Blood-Swept Lands and Seas of Red, which saw the moat filled with thousands of ceramic puppies. Tower Bridge is a combined bascule and suspension bridge in London built between 1886 and 1894. The bridge crosses the River Thames close to the Tower of London and has become a world-famous symbol of London. As a result, it is sometimes confused with London Bridge, about half a mile upstream. Tower Bridge is one of the 5 London bridges owned and maintained by the Bridge House Estates, a charitable trust overseen by the City of London Corporation. It is the only one of the trust bridges not to connect the City of London directly to the Southwark Bank, as its northern landfall is the Tower Hamlets. Borough Market is a wholesale and retail market hall in Southwark, London, England. It is one of the largest and oldest food markets in London, with a market on the site dating back to at least the 12th centuries. The present buildings were built in the 1850s and today the market mainly sells specialty foods to the general public. Meet up with my friend during PNU days, Erisa. We had experienced Star Flyer. The Monument, or the Monument to the Great Fire of London, is a Doric column in London, England, situated near the northern end of London Bridge, commemorating the Great Fire of London. It stands at the junction of Monument Street and the Fish Street Hill. Westminster Abbey, formerly titled the Collegiate Church of St. Peter at Westminster, is a large, mainly Gothic abbey church in the city of Westminster, London, England, just to the west of the Palace of Westminster. It is one of the United Kingdom's most notable religious buildings and the traditional place of coronations and the burial site for English and later British monarchs. In addition to serving as a site for royal coronations and burials, Westminster Abbey has famously been the location for 17 royal weddings, including the 2011 marriage of Prince William to Catherine Middleton. The Palace of Westminster served as the meeting place for both the House of Commons and the House of Lords, the two houses of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. Informally known as the Houses of Parliament after its occupants, the palace lies on the north bank of the River Thames in the city of Westminster in central London, England. St. Paul's Cathedral is an Anglican cathedral in London, United Kingdom, which, as the Cathedral of the Bishop of London, served as the mother church of the Diocese of London. It sits on the Ludgate Hill at the highest point of the City of London and is a Grade 1 listed building. Its dedication to Paul the Apostle dates back to the original church on this site founded in AD 604. The present cathedral, dating from the late 17th century, was designed in the English Baroque style by Sir Christopher Wren. The cathedral is one of the most famous and most recognizable sights of London. Its dome framed the spires of Wren City's churches has dominated the skyline for over 300 years. Trafalgar Square is a public square in the city of Westminster, central London, established in the early 19th century around the area formerly known as the Charing Cross. The square's name commemorates the Battle of Trafalgar, the British naval victory in the Napoleonic Wars over France and Spain that took place on the 21 October 1805 off the coast of Cape Trafalgar. The National Gallery is an art museum in Trafalgar Square in the city of Westminster in central London. Founded in 1824, it houses a collection of over 2,300 paintings dating from the mid-13th century to 1900. Picadilly Circus is a road junction and public space of London's West End in the city of Westminster. It was built in 1819 to connect Regent Street with Piccadilly. In this context, a circus, from the Latin word meaning circle, is a round open space at a street junction. Cambridge Circus is a junction at the intersection of the Shaftesbury Avenue and the Charing Cross Road in central London. It is situated approximately halfway between the Tottenham Court Road Station and Leicester Square. Buckingham Palace is the London residence and administrative headquarters of the monarch of the United Kingdom. Located in the city of Westminster, the palace is often as the center of state occasions and royal hospitality. It has been a focal point for the British people at times of national rejoicing and mourning. Buckingham Palace is one of the world's few remaining working royal palaces. It has been open to visitors during the summer months for more than 20 years. You can book the Buckingham Palace tickets via visitlondon.com. There, you can see the state rooms, the grand staircase, the fine art, the audio tour with Prince Charles, the throne room, the served porcelain, the garden, flags and clocks, the special exhibition, the garden cafe, and the garden shop. The British Museum is the Bloomsbury area of London, United Kingdom, is a public institution dedicated to human history, art, and culture. Its permanent collection of some 8 million works is among the largest and most comprehensive in existence, having been widely sourced during the era of the British Empire. It documents the story of human culture from its beginning to the present. It was the first public national museum in the world. Hyde Park, London. Hyde Park is a Grade 1 listed major park in central London. It is the largest of 4 royal parks that form a chain from the entrance of Kensington Palace through Kensington Gardens and Hyde Park, via Hyde Park Corner and the Green Park past the main entrance to Buckingham Palace. The park is divided by the Serpentine and the Long Water Lakes. The Green Park, usually known without the definite article simply as Green Park, is one of the royal parks of London. It is the southern part, the core part of the city Westminster, central London, but before that zone that extended to the north to take in the Marylebone and Paddington. It lay in its north center. It is the north of the gates and the semicircular forecourt of the Buckingham Palace. Kensington Palace is a royal residence set in Kensington Gardens in the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea in London, England. It has been a residence of the British royal family since the 17th century and is currently the official London residence of the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge, Princess Eugenie and her husband John Bronsbank, and the Duke and the Duchess of Gloucester, and the Duke and the Duchess of Kent, and the Prince and the Princess Michael of Kent. Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park in London, England, United Kingdom is a sporting complex in Stratford. It was built for the 2012 Summer Olympics and the Paralympics, situated to the east of the city adjacent to the Stratford City development. It contains the Athletes' Olympic Village and several of the sporting venues including the London Stadium and the London Aquatics Centre, besides the London Olympics Media Centre. Windsor Castle is a royal residence at Windsor in the English country of Berkshire. It is strongly associated with the English and succeeding British royal family and embodies almost 1,000 years of architectural history. Stonehenge is a prehistoric monument in Wiltshire, England, 2 miles west of Amesbury. It consists of a ring of standing stones, each around 13 feet high and 7 feet wide and weighing around 25 tons. The stones are set within earthworks in the middle of the most dense complex of Neolithic and Bronze Age monument in England, including several hundred tumuli or burial mounds. You can book your admission ticket to the Stonehenge at englishheritage.org.uk or at getyourguide.com. During that time, I booked the Stonehenge and Bath Day trip from London. On this tour, you will discover 2 gems of southern England on this full-day coach trip to Stonehenge and Bath from London. Travel to Stonehenge, a prehistoric stone monument that rises imperiously from Salisbury Plain. Gaze at the gigantic stones, learn how the monument was used, and then continue to the UNESCO-listed city of Bath to discover this gorgeous 18th century city independently, and see top Bath attractions such as the Royal Crescent as you wish, or upgrade to visit the stunning Roman Bath or Jade Anster Visitor Center. Here, you will be able to explore the World Heritage Sites of Stonehenge, discover the UNESCO World Heritage listed city of Bath during your leisure, and see the Bath Abbey or the River Avon and the other top city highlights. I hope you enjoyed this virtual tour of Pia's travel in England, UK in 2014, where I explored most of the part of London and England. I definitely enjoyed exploring London all by myself. Even if I am traveling solo, I was able to explore most of the tourist attractions all around London. You can explore London by foot and of course by using their very reliable public transport, subways, undergrounds, and buses. You can enjoy shopping clothes in the Primark or Primark department store, which is sprung all around London. You will surely enjoy shopping at the Oxford Street. And of course, seeing a West End show is a common tourist activity in London. During that time, I watched the Miss Saigon. Some travel tips when you're visiting London: book as much as possible in advance. Book all your tickets in advance means more choices, better prices, and less time wasted queuing. If you're visiting London for the first time, don't try to see everything. London is very huge. You have to plan it carefully on which places you want to visit each day. London can be a bit expensive for budget traveler, but don't worry, you can visit London's free attractions, free museums in London, London parks and gardens, London shops, changing of the guard, and a lot more. Use public transport. Buy your Oyster card. One of the best and quickest way to get around in London is Metro, aka London Tube. This is the biggest advantage of the tube is that you can go quickly to go other side of the London without having waste your time in the traffic. Oyster card is a sort of electronic ticket that can be used for all public transport in Greater London and is much cheaper than paying for a single ride tickets. One of the great ways to see the city and major attractions in London is also through the hop-on and hop-off buses, which is extremely popular among the tourists. You cannot pay in euro or US dollar in London. You need to get pound sterling. Wear comfortable shoes because you will be walking a lot. And always pack an umbrella, it rains a lot in London. I hope those tips that I have mentioned will help you when you plan your travel trip to UK after the pandemic. Swansea, Wales. One of the reasons why I visited London in 2014 is to attend my sister's wedding in Swansea, Wales. Mega shout out to Logan and Liam Davis' channel. Their mother is my sister Evelyn, who married a British guy named Darren, who is now my brother-in-law. Please subscribe to their channel too if you want to see my two adorable nephews. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye! Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for notification. Like, comment, and share. Watch out for my next video, Pia's Travel in South Korea 2015.